many things are thrown at you. There is a reason why we are all here. How to identify those toxic relationships? Very easy. The signs. First of all, what can cause? It can be unpayable debt. No matter what I do, the power is on his side. Each and every situation is different. Use the tarot deck. You can start asking those quality questions. Once you lift yourself up, your life gets easier. Hello, beautiful souls. So today we will be talking about toxic relationships. I think that many of you have been going through such so-called toxic relationship stage into your life. Maybe you are going through it right now, and that's why you are here. I am here to help. I have observed so many toxic relationships into my life, including my life. So I had to figure out the way how to get out of there, lift yourself up and arise and provide that sunshine for everyone around me. It doesn't mean that you go through life and it's all so-called rosy and shiny. That is not how it's happening here. Here you go through life and many things are thrown at you. I would not say the word for that. However, all of you know what I mean. Now, when you go through this world, and there is a reason why we are all here, we want to shine. We want to shine that light which is going through us. How to do that? How to do it in such a way that everything what is thrown to us and at us at this specific moment, it doesn't stick to us. Now, there is a technology. Technology, it's something so-called when you click on button A, then there is a specific sequence and button B should be clicked, right? So there is a sequential order behind that type of events. You want to achieve goal C. You want to click A, then B, and then there will be C. It cannot be just C out of the blue into this numerical world. So what we will be talking today with you about is how to lift yourself up from any kind of toxic relationships you are currently dealing with, or in case if you found yourself right now into the circle of those relationships, and how to make sure that you literally rise and spread that light from within you everywhere, wherever you go. You are in that steady equanimity mind all the time. Now, first of all, we will be talking to you about the signs of toxic relationships. How to identify those toxic relationships? Very easy. You interact with a person, whatever the person is, or let's say with a space, whatever the space is. It may be not necessarily the person, or with any kind of being, and you feel down energetically, like something is sucking out energy out of you. This is the first sign. It's toxic relationships. You are into this interaction mode, and instead of expansion, you feel contraction all the time. You feel any kind of battle. You feel that you have to convince someone in something. You feel something is off every time after you go out of those relationships. That's what's going on. It means those relationships at this particular stage are toxic for you, because relationships which uplift you, make you rise, make you spread your light around, these are the relationships which are so-called building up relationships, uplifting relationships. Okay, there are other types of relationships when you interact and you feel like an equanimity of mind with that particular person. Nothing has changed. You are so-called indifferent. It may happen either way in this reality as well. However, today we are talking about this toxic type of relationships. So whenever you feel so-called contracted after any type of interaction, these are toxic relationships. Now, how do we deal with these toxic relationships? Okay, you identified it. First of all, what can cause these toxic relationships? There are different reasons. Number one, it can be unpayable debt. Okay, so it's the battle of powers when you feel that you just cannot repay that debt. It's just not possible. Whatever you do, the percentage just rises. Usually we talk about parental relationships here, right? Now, another thing is when you are financially dependent on this person at this particular stage in your life, and you found that, oh, no matter what I do, the power is on his side, right? And then what else? There is so-called social norms, and those social norms, let's say you start distancing yourself from those relationships, they literally put you down. Oh, how could you do that? This is a bad son, or this is a bad daughter, or whatever, and it starts putting you down. okay? Or you're a bad husband, bad wife, blah, 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 blah. So this puts you down into that particular moment. And there are other courses which literally just downgrade you, which create that glue to those particular toxic relationships. I would not name them already right now. You will need to think about it yourself and use maybe specific tools with your subconscious mind to figure it out, because each and every situation is different. Now, we want to understand that technology, how to lift yourself up from those particular toxic relationships. What I found for myself, which works really effectively, is distancing. Now, you would tell me, but Yulia, how can I distance if I'm financially dependent on this person? There are two types of distancing. In fact, even more, but when you are truly connected to this life and you see only what's happening into this earthy life, there are mainly two. It's psychological distancing and physical distancing. So what do I mean under it? Look, we have five senses. So we speak, we smell, we hear, we see, and we touch, right? So we interact with the world that way. So when we want to distance a bit, we make that hindrance between the object we interact with and ourselves through shutting down one of those senses. For example, you cannot really distance yourself physically from that person at this particular stage in your life. So what you do is you make that hindrance in your psychology. Whatever the person is saying to you, it goes into that ear, it goes through another ear. You don't really stick to it, okay? So you become the master of your attention from the perspective of hearing. So you can literally command to yourself, whatever the person is saying at this particular stage in my life, I don't listen, okay? So it's just not going there. It's going through one ear to another ear. That's how you command yourself to do it that way. Now, you have to see that person, you have to smell that person, you have even to touch that person, this person touches you, but this literally is not sticking to what they say at this particular moment in your life. Physical distance. You distance yourself physically from the person, and this is the easiest and quickest way to start that self-healing process. Now, distance doesn't mean you completely remove communication with that person from your life, especially if these are parents. You reduce the frequency of interaction. That's all what I propose here. So if you interacted, let's say every day, reduce it to once per 2 days. See and feel the difference. And it's the same way with the psychological disturbance here, psychological distancing. Okay? Psychological distancing is harder to establish, but at the same time, you become the master of attention once you start doing it. Because every time when you hear that, you start noticing, and you don't get attached to what is said to you. Okay? Now, so you distanced yourself. You reduced the frequency with the person. Number 2, you want to increase the tolerance to judgment from that distancing. Once you distance yourself, be prepared, there will be increased judgment towards your side. So you have to handle it. That's the fire of judgment which you have to go through to rise, to be transformed. Remember, through the element of fire, we get transformed. We become stronger. Okay? So you do that so-called distancing based on your tolerance to that judgment. Because remember, especially if you go against certain perceptions, beliefs of another person, what is happening is that you start experiencing that judgment in a very aggressive way from that specific person. So you want to be tolerant to that level of judgment. But we all can reduce the frequency of communication and interaction with that toxic person at least a bit, okay? Even if we are very gentle. So, and then what I propose is you start increasing that distancing from that person, psychologically or physically, through that frequency. The level of judgment, I promise you, will start increasing. To increase that distance and think that the level of judgment will reduce is just like to be a fool, okay? So we have this first card in our tarot deck, which is the Fool card. When we just do certain things, we don't know what we are doing in here. So there is this perception of distancing from both parties. Another party will start feeling it as well. So another party wants you back, so the judgment will start increasing. Now you will ask me, Yulia, but how do I handle it? You experience your light shining towards that party. You say, I'm always here for you. I love you. You say it all the time. If you cannot say that, you already have that hatred within. At least be silent. At least be silent. Okay? Silent within. So command to yourself that you stop any kind of thoughts at this specific moment when you are being judged. Be silent in the moment. Start working with your breath. And slowly but steadily increase that level of distancing based on your tolerance to judgment. You will see that you become more comfortable to that level of judgment right now, okay? And then if you are comfortable, it doesn't touch you that much, increase it even more because it will become more aggressive after you increase the distance even more, okay? And I want you to start seeing that. Now, guess what's happening next? Look at this. When we look at our palm like this, I want you to do it, all of you, just let's do it. Do you see any lines on your palm? No matter how good your eyesight is, can you see anything on your palm right now? Now let's start distancing at least a bit, okay? Do you see some lines on your palm? You can see, but it's hard. Now let's start distancing more. You can see much more and you get more relaxed. Now distance it a bit more. Do you see much more? Are your eyes much more relaxed? That's exactly what I am talking about here. That's what we want to achieve once we start increasing that distance, either physical or psychological, from the toxic party, okay? Now, what you can do next? You can use different tools to work with your psyche, with your subconscious mind. I propose working with the tarot. Tarot is an amazing tool. You can work with any other tool, whatever you want. I work already for 10 years with tarot and I really love this tool just because it works so perfectly well for me to identify what is there in my subconscious mind. So when you learn how to deal with a tarot deck and read your subconscious mind correctly, you can get answers to absolutely everything. It is a really helping tool to work with yourself, to improve yourself, to lift yourself up, okay? It's not just a divination tool, fortune-telling tool, just a game. That's not why I created that deck even. I created it to work with your subconscious mind so that we could lift ourselves up and start shining our light from within. Because guess what? Once you lift yourself up, all the synchronicities in this world happen. Your life gets easier. Somehow, out of the blue, you see that it's so smooth and easy everywhere. It's not that hard. Okay, so I teach the whole course how to work with tarot in order to remove those blockages from your mind, how to literally look at yourself, right? That's why it's so shiny, like at the mirror, and identify all these blockages. So it's a serious tool. It's not just a game. Now, what we can do next is, after we identified all the blockages within us, why everything what was thrown to us from this toxic party, from this toxic person, why it was sticking at us, we can start healing ourselves. And that's why you can use this tarot deck. You can start asking those quality questions, right? What is in there in me what actually perceives that thing thrown at me, that judgment thrown at me, and what is hurting? So, and then you shuffle your deck and you start pulling the card, and if you know how to work with yourself, you literally start working with your subconscious mind using the deck correctly. Again, I have the whole system around it developed specifically to use tarot deck as a self-mirror, self-optimization tool for your subconscious, right? To rewire your mind, to rewire the neural pathways in your brain naturally, okay? Now, once you start healing yourself, you heal yourself, you become like the sun, whole, you start shining. And once you start shining, there is only one interaction from you to another one. There is no this interaction with the toxic mind. It stops its existence, okay? Then you can come back and increase even that frequency from the perspective of healing that person. So you start having a bit more interaction, but it's not interaction. You provide your presence. You provide your presence and you heal. Look, we always receive really beautiful, wise answers here from Mother Nature. Sun shines for everyone. If you did something wrong, does it shine to you in a bit worse way than for another one, the saint one? It shines the same way for everyone. So we become those sons of this creation. And we shine warmly to absolutely everyone who come into our presence. And guess what? It's not the interaction anymore. It is healing relationships. You start interacting if another one rises and gets into that sunshine mode. And you augment that sunshine. Now you cooperate. That's another level of interaction. It's not competition, it's cooperation. In the world of sunshine, in the world of uplifted, rising consciousness, there is no such a thing as competition. We cooperate with each other. All right, so I hope all these information served you well, and it will help you to lift yourself up step by step from these relationships which are bothering you right now. And if you want to learn more how to work with your subconscious mind along the way, I am warmly inviting you into my website. You can see all the links below, and we can start that beautiful, beautiful healing process together. Thank you.